Hi everyone, and welcome to the Scorpio January 2022 Self-Illumination reading. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot and Meeting-Based Spiritual Coaching Services. I am Lauren. Hi and welcome and Happy New Year. So this reading is meant to help you find the meaning in the challenge or challenges you are currently experiencing so that you can better become aware of and see your unique, singular, and very important path and purpose towards ultimately experiencing your highest potential so that you can feel emotionally connected to who you are, what you are here to do, as well as feeling connected to the greater service that you can be to the greater collective human experience. All right, so Scorpio, as I was getting into your energy, it felt really good. I actually got this funny image of like young women or girls kind of almost like running into a room like they're on vacation and like flopping on the bed of like, whoo, yay, kind of feeling. It's very interesting, very almost like celebratory, or there's this feeling of, going on vacation and being in a beautiful place and almost getting I feel like there's an element of feeling like you're finally getting the rewards for the hard work you've been putting in. So I don't know if that might be an additional message for some of you out there, but that was kind of what I saw, and it was an image that made me want to laugh. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start by pulling a card for your internal energy. Then I'll pull a card for what's going on in your external environment. And then we'll take a look at the challenges that are going on and basically the larger reason as to why Spirit is asking you to face these challenges right now. What part of yourself are you meant to have illuminated and brought to awareness? Let's see. So what are my Scorpios sitting with for the month of January? What's the energy Scorpio is sitting with? Ooh, all right. We have Temperance. It's a great card to have internally. So Temperance is a card of balance. It's a card of tempering fire and water, which I always like to equate to bringing into balance your actions and your emotions, meaning that you are not acting purely from a place of emotion and your emotions are not getting the better of you to where perhaps you don't take action. So it's a great place to be, that you're emotionally connected and aware and taking action, but not in an imbalanced way. In the external environment, Two of Cups, beautiful. This is kind of exactly what I was seeing for you guys here. And at the bottom of the deck, Justice. Card of Libra, also a card of divine balance. Beautiful. So there's a lot of, I think this month coming through a lot of balancing of everything. It's almost like the scales have finally balanced and now you really are feeling the equal reward for the equal work or the risk you've taken or the heartache you've had to go through, that somehow now all of that you're starting to see the reason why. That's really what the strong feeling that's coming through here. So with Temperance, this internal energy, you're really learning how to balance emotion with action. I also always feel that there's this element of divinity with this card, that there's a quality that comes through for myself personally of kind of angelic help, divine timing. And it's the number 14 in the tarot. And the number 14 to me always, and I'm not sure if this is the way everybody else sees it, but it breaks into number 5. But the 14 itself for me really speaks to finding freedom through change. And so for me, what I'm seeing for you guys kind of internally is that as you're balancing out yourself on an internal level, you're also starting to understand the changes that have taken place, the changes you're going to have to make this year, and how that's going to lead ultimately to your freedom, to a sense of freedom. Now in your external environment, we have the Two of Cups, which is a wonderful energy to have out in and around you. That is the card that really signifies bringing in healthy partnerships, whether it's romantic, whether it's familial, friendships, or even partnerships in work. And I love that there's this quality here in all three of these cards of balance, you see it in this Temperance card. I know they're very small. It's very hard to see, but in Temperance, balancing 2 cups here, meeting 2 cups, and then ultimately here we have balancing the scales. So there's this quality in totality for the month of January about equality, both within yourself and balance within yourself, but also in your external environment with others, that you understand what's in your cup, meaning you understand what emotionally fulfills you. You're getting to a place where you are, I want to say healed and whole and healthy, to where you are a full person that is able to have a full cup that can then put that out to have that be matched by another. Meaning you're not going to be putting yourself in positions where you are perhaps having to give of your cup to others, or vice versa. You're not coming with a kind of a less than or lacking mentality. You are coming equal, coming into kind of harmony in all the aspects of your life. Now, with this too, there is that feeling of, I think you guys have like the strong word keeps coming through that I keep hearing is healing. I've healed, healing. And that you might have gone through some kind of rough periods, whether it's years past, whether it's been recently, and that there's this almost divine timing okay, now is the time to go out as this healed version of yourself, because you're going to attract healthy people that are going to help kind of forward or move you forward into this new year. And I love that all of this is to bring this element of balance, of balancing the scales, of righting wrongs, and you're going to now step into a place of personal empowerment. And I think also a place of I'm getting that feeling of peace. That again, there's nothing inside of you that's going to be too much one way or the other. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull cards now to take a look at the challenges that you're facing right now between really taking this balanced feeling that you're sitting with and being able to, with confidence, bring yourself out into partnership and union with others in your external environment. So we have the 5 of Swords. Ooh, we have the Tower. Lots of people getting the Tower. This is definitely a eye-opening month. I think after the last 2 years, we've all gone through quite a bit, and we're all almost like wiping the slate clean a little bit. Okay, then we have 3 of Pentacles, we have 4 of Pentacles, and we have 8 of Cups. Okay, let me just take a look at this here. So 5 of Swords, the Tower, 3 of Pentacles, 4 of Pentacles, and 8 of Cups. Right off the bat, what I'm seeing here with the 5 of Swords and the Tower, there is an element of wanting to fight the Tower. The 5 of Swords is winning at all costs. This is somebody who is going to, let's say in an argument, they are going to argue their side no matter who they hurt, no matter if it ruins a friendship, no matter what. They're not there to listen to the other person. They are there to win, to get their point across. And there's a little bit of, with the Tower coming in directly after that, a little bit of wanting to not want to face the fact that portions of your external life that have been in place for quite some time are done. That things have changed. Either you're not living in the same place, you're not doing the same work, you're not you might have had a partnership a romantic partnership that didn't work out. But what's happening is that basically your external environment is crumbling. That sounds a little scary, right? You're like, I don't want my external environment to crumble. it might have already happened and you might be fighting it. It might be that in the past couple of years you've had to make some big changes. I think we all have. But where we can get hung up on really being able to, again, step into this beautiful place of balance and abundance in our relationships and feeling supported, is when we don't want to deal with the change. We don't want to see how kind of everything that was, all of what we kind of clung to as part of our stability, or who, or what we felt was a representation of ourselves out in our external environment, we don't want to admit to ourselves that it's gone, that old version of ourselves is gone. And we can stand in this position of, people might be coming to you and saying like, oh, so you've moved, like, are you having fun? Are you enjoying yourselves? And you're like, no, I wish I didn't have to move. I wish I didn't have to do that. I wish it could have been better. It could have been this. It could have been that. And the person's like, well, I think it's actually a good idea for you. It looks like no, it was not as good as I thought it was going to be. And so it's almost this quality here of like wanting at all costs to not realize that the tower had to fall so that you can rebuild. The Three of Pentacles is a beautiful card of rebuilding, but rebuilding with an eye to the future, rebuilding with this sense of who am I now? What do I want to create? And it's also about building with others. So there's this theme coming through of this time you don't have to build it alone. This time you get a chance to build, and you get to choose the people that you want to have come in and build it with you. Now we have the Four of Pentacles coming after that, which is a card of a little bit of holding back. That's a card of, okay, I'm building, I'm starting to bring the right people into place, we're getting moving, and then it's like, put on the brakes. I don't want to risk anymore. There's a lot of change going on. I might have had to have put out some money or put too much time towards something here or there, and I've just finally gotten a little bit of stability. So I'm feeling like you guys are finally at this place where maybe the tower has fallen. You finally have gotten a little bit of this stability. You feel like you got your feet back on the ground. But where this can become a challenge is when you're holding back. You're holding back from really leaning into building, or what I say, leaning into realizing that in order to build, you have to keep building. You have to keep investing. You have to keep investing time and energy and money and resources, and you have to keep moving forward. And there's a little bit of this kind of like, I don't know if I want to do that. It seems a little scary. Like I've had to go through so much to get to this point. I'm gonna just stop, because then we have the Eight of Cups directly after that. And the Eight of Cups is a card of emotionally, on an emotional level, walking away from basically walking away from stuff that in the past, either walking away from something, a situation, a person that in the past had brought you emotional fulfillment. And that probably on paper also looked good to others, meaning that this could have been a job that you once really loved doing, or this could have been an area you really loved living in, or this could have been a person that you loved living with. And now that no longer brings you emotional fulfillment. You know that the job had to go because you weren't in it. You didn't care about it anymore. Or maybe you realized that you kind of outgrown the place you were living, or you have to move on from a relationship that no longer supports you, that doesn't fit with the person that you're becoming, this balanced person. That other person maybe doesn't match your cup, or you didn't know your full cup when you first met them. And so now might be a point where you're getting to that place of, wow, I wasn't a whole person at that time, and now I am, and now my dynamic has changed. Because Eight of Cups is about being able to have the strength to walk away, to walk away from what you know no longer emotionally fulfills you, with faith, knowing that you can pick up your cup, which is right here, turn around and have it met by those now who will now emotionally fulfill you, who will now help you get to the 9 of Cups and the 10 of Cups. So the 9 of Cups is a wish fulfillment, and the 10 of Cups is the ultimate heart's desire. So that's really what the 8 of Cups is having faith to trust your feelings enough to be able to take action. And that's really coming back to this temperance element of balancing action with emotion and understanding that the two are integrally linked. But you can't do it when they're out of balance, when you're only running on emotion and you can't kind of see the bigger picture, or when you're acting without emotion. And that's when you become disconnected. So there's this quality here of bringing that into balance, kind of having to face the tower moment. Things have changed. Okay, now I have to lean into it. Now I'm living in a new place. I have to maybe let go of the old friends and start making new friends. I have a new job and now I have to embrace the changes that come with that. Or now I have to realize that it's time for me to walk away from something. And basically, I mean, it could even be a partnership. It could be something where you're walking away from a romantic partnership because, again, now you're a different person. You're a much more healed and whole person than you had been before. And what I love, again, is that there's this feeling here of this guy could just pick up his cup, turn around, and there's somebody there to meet him. And I think that that's what you're kind of wrestling with, is this having the faith to know that you can let the old that you no longer feel emotionally connected to go. You can let it go. Let that old relationship go. Let that old job go. Let that old place where you used to live go. And lean into what is now your future. Beautiful energy, Scorpio. This is going to be a good year, I feel, for you guys. It is a rebuilding year, but it's a year where you're going to finally see and reap the rewards for, I think, all of that you've kind of suffered through. I really feel that feeling of suffering coming through for you guys. All right, so I'm going to pull now 3 cards, one for the concept of curiosity, one for the concept of courage, and one for contemplation. And I'm going to do that so that we can engage the Triad of Engagement, which is a coaching tool I utilize to help bring what is a very general reading into more of an individualized experience for you, and to give you some tips and pointers to keep in mind throughout the month to help you as an individual unlock something that Spirit would specifically like you to uncover and illuminate for yourself. So we have, for the concept of curiosity, we have 5th chakra, Archangel Gabriel, and it's number 39, which breaks down to the number 12, which I love the number 12. That number is the number of divinity to me, which further breaks down to the number 3, which is also a number of divinity. But it's a number of creation, and it's a number of working with others. It's also a number of being seen, which I think is really interesting. And coming through with the 5th chakra, which is your throat chakra, there's this quality of speaking and being seen. Now, for curiosity, we're utilizing the concept of curiosity to help open us up to something we would have otherwise been unaware of this month. So we're going to create a question around this that you are to keep in mind and ask yourself periodically to open yourself up to how Spirit is going to answer that question for you, and through that bring awareness to some aspect of your experience that you were otherwise unaware of. So, thinking about speaking and divinity and creation and being seen and working with others, the question that I would bring up for you to ask yourself throughout this month to keep in mind is, where are you not speaking your truth in regards to this new future, that this new environment you find yourself in and the new future you're bringing forward? Meaning, where are you perhaps still speaking from your old self who used to live in the tower? the old self who didn't want to leave the tower. The old self who was going to chop down their opponents at all costs because they were going to prove that they were right. And how can you change the way you speak about your truth and your current situation and your environment and the changes you've gone through and the lessons you've learned? Where can and how can you change that so that you can actually start to utilize your experience to be able to attract others that need to hear your story, that are similar to you? And that, I think another question too is not even a question, it's more about being curious and kind of open, because that's what curiosity does for us. It helps open us up in a kind of an optimistic sense to something. And I would say be open to how, as you're communicating what you've gone through and what and where you are now, and doing so with awareness from an empowered place, be open to who that actually does bring into you. You know, somebody that you might open yourself up to somebody and they might say, oh my gosh, I've gone through the same thing. And suddenly you have a brand new friend. You click with somebody just like that because you didn't hold back. In the Five of Swords, you instead embraced this person and really leaned into that feeling of faith of being able to just express the truth. It's an interesting energy. I love it, actually. So to be curious about how speaking your truth in a new way, in a positive way, and speaking it out loud for others to see and be seen, whether this is posting on social media, whether this is talking one-on-one with family or friends or coworkers, that there's this quality of the more that you do that, I'd be curious as to what's going to come in because of that. Okay, now I'm going to pull a Power of Surrender card for the concept of courage. And in courage, we are stepping into our personal place of empowerment. This is where we get a chance to have the courage to make the small, tough decisions that we try to kind of shy away from throughout the day, meaning like getting up 30 minutes early. And I apologize if you can hear my daughter crying in the background. She is with her daddy and it is mealtime. But so courage is where we have the courage to become aware of our own power in making our decisions which shape our experience of reality. So this would be being aware of waking up those 30 minutes early and getting in that workout like you had said you were going to do. Or eating only one cookie instead of 2 cookies like you told yourself you were going to do. Again, it's all these little tiny decisions that end up adding up, and that's really where it takes the courage to make that. It doesn't seem like a tough decision, but it takes courage to make the right decision for you. So we have surrender to the wisdom of your body. Now, this is going to be the theme you're going to keep in mind as you're taking action throughout the month of January, really understanding and thinking into that. Each time you go to take action and something doesn't feel right, kind of feel into your body, and that'll help push you to say, okay, no, this does feel good or this does not feel good. And that will help too with the Eight of Cups, of understanding kind of where you need to release things emotionally and where you need to have faith to embrace the new on an emotional level. So it says, listen to your body's messages about a person or situation. If you feel physically drained or uncomfortable, be cautious. If you are energized and happy, move forward. Beautiful. There is definitely a lot to be said about becoming aware of your body. We can, a lot of times, just become so disconnected from our physical being that we don't even realize how we can rely on it to make decisions in our best interest. Meaning, you might be at work thinking about doing something or thinking about maybe completing a task, and you're literally sitting there grinding your teeth together. And it's in that moment to realize, wow, something about that task doesn't sit right with you. Something about it is either stressing you out or making you upset because you were maybe unfairly given that task. And that's in those moments, that's when you can step back to have the courage to take the right action around that. That if maybe this was a delegated task that should have been delegated to somebody else, and now you're frustrated. And so this might mean having to speak up to somebody from a new place of empowered truth, to go to your boss who maybe normally you would never say, anything, and you just keep taking the work and grinding your teeth and feeling stressed at the end of the day. And now it's about saying, I'm worth more than that. I understand my place, and I understand balance, and this is not fair. It's not fair that I'm doing twice as much work as the person next to me. And then you go in and you have and I'd say how to kind of tie all this together as the great examples, instead of maybe in the past where your emotions and your actions are out of balance and you'd either wait until all of this built up and then you'd explode on your boss or on the coworker of yours, or you just vent like crazy to your, maybe coworkers after work or your friends, that now you are in a place of emotional and action-oriented balance, so you can sit back, take a deep breath, bring awareness to why you're feeling this way and what's causing you to feel this way, so that then you can have a course of action to say, you know what, I'm going to trust that my boss is going to understand that when I tell them what's going on in a calm, rational manner and let them know how this is making me feel, that they will meet me halfway, equal, and work with me to remedy this situation. And that's the beautiful thing about when you're aware of your body, when you're aware of your surroundings, and when you have your emotions balanced with the action that you take. All right, and now we're going to pull a card here for contemplation. And this is kind of this is something to keep in mind throughout the month, to hold up as you're doing a daily review, or even just a full month review, but also in times of reflection. So if you have built-in times for meditation or just before you're falling asleep, this is going to be a theme you're going to want to hold yourself accountable to through the consequences of your actions. Meaning, this is something that as you're reflecting on your day, that you can look back and say, did the consequences of my actions really help me better understand or meet the energy of this card? So let's say the energy of the card says, say yes. Well, are you actually taking action? Are you actually saying yes? Maybe as you think about what you did throughout the day, maybe you realize that you said no and no and no and no, and it's not aligning with the energy of this card and the energy of yes. And so the next day, with conscious awareness, you make the decision to say yes. And that might mean taking, again, action that is a little harder. You might have to say yes to something that ultimately you normally would not have said yes to. But there's a theme here that Spirit wants you in integrating this theme into your awareness for the month. It's going to unlock a larger aspect of your personal purpose. So it says the great gathering. It says it's all coming together, intuitive hits, soul tribe. Beautiful, because this really is what's coming through here, is that you are attracting to you your soul tribe, those in your external environment that are meant now to meet you. You have to be able to bring them towards you, though, by being able to speak to who you are now. And with intuitive hits, there's definitely a quality that ties into the surrender to the wisdom of your body, because intuition, you can generally feel your intuition in your body. Your body is a tool to channel intuition. And I think what's beautiful here is that when it says it's all coming together, I think that's really the overarching theme here, is with this larger energy of divine justice, that it is all coming together. All of that hardship and heartache, no matter how long ago it's been now, all of that you've gone through to get to this point is going to be shown. It's going to be shown to you as the why. Why did you have to go through that? Because now you're going to see the benefit and the reward that you're going to get from having faced all those challenges, having gone through all those difficult periods, and coming to a place now where you can just be good and walk away from all of that and not have to keep speaking from that place or holding it on your back, so to speak. And that now you're going to meet new people who are fresh, who are going to be the people that you move forward with into your future as this new version of self. Beautiful, beautiful reading, Scorpio. I hope you all have a fantastic January with lots of great connections with other people. And if you would like to take a look at what Spirit would like you to personally illuminate for yourself, and to take a look at some challenges you're facing and find some ways to better face them and have the courage to face them in the knowledge of what you're unlocking for yourself, you can click on the link below to book a personalized reading or a one-on-one coaching session. All right, Scorpio, I look forward to reading for you in February. Have a wonderful January. Bye.